Welcome, everybody. Today is January 3rd, and we are working with our 12th image today, Madonna of the Fish, with Contemplation from Hunter Francis. And today, Eurythmy brought to us from Brigida, Baldszun. And just a note before we get started with our speaker, Brian Gray just wanted to send his best wishes, let everyone know his health is a-okay. He had a moment of pause, but all is well. So thank you so much for all your kind wishes and thoughts. And he hopes your New Year's treats you very well. Blessings and love to you all. That's a message from Brian. And with that, I invite Hunter to go ahead and get started. Thank you, Hunter, for being with us today.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Tess, and to the whole committee for inviting me. It's been really wonderful to be with you all on this journey together. So today's painting is a detail from Raphael's Madonna and the Fish, which I really enjoyed working with. It dates to about 1512 and has been in the Prado Museum in Madrid for quite a long time. As with virtually all of the paintings, one thing that stands out consistently is the embrace of the mother. And I think that's a good starting place to focus our attention and our gratitude. In terms of astrological orientation, we're now in the sign of Gemini. And as Brian Gray pointed out in the introduction, the constellation is very clearly seen in the position of the arms here. Now, Gemini, of course, is the sign of polarities, but I think no matter what sign any of us are, we can all relate to this yin and yang of earthly existence. And nowadays, we might even say that that's a recurrent theme. Polarities seem to be trending these days. So it's apropos, I think. And this play of polarities can be challenging to say the least, but there's hope. And that is namely grace, which I think comes through so beautifully in the whole series in the pictures of the Madonna. And in that light, I'd like to call my reflection grace as a comfort to polarity. Now in this picture, there's definitely a downward movement, which makes the picture well suited in its place on the descending leg of the star, the final leg of the star. The focus of the Christ and even of Mary is turned downward, which Brian also suggested can indicate a willingness towards incarnation and willingness to participate in earthly existence. Now, at this point, I have to beg your pardon. I kind of cheated and I went back to the larger picture. So if Angela or someone could put that on the screen, this is the picture with fish in it. And we have here three other personages. You have the young Tobias on the left holding the fish. You have Raphael, who actually helped guide him to catch the fish in the Tigris River and gave him the advice to burn the heart and the liver of the fish to help cure his girlfriend's, rid her of demons, and to burn the gallbladder to cure his father of blindness. So we have some miracles happening here. And then on the right, you have Saint Jerome, who's holding a book, presumably the book of Tobit. Tobit was Tobias's father. And in fact, it's thought that this whole painting was a commemoration of the canonization of the book of Tobit into the Catholic Church. It's a very dramatic image here in the full detail. You see the sweep of the curtain coming down, this downward pull, it's almost overpowering. And in it, I can see several polarities. One, of course, always is just the polarity of the spiritual and the material, but we also have the young and the old. Even though the three supporting characters are men, you almost see the polarity between masculine and feminine gestures. And I would argue there's kind of a polarity between the traditional and the unorthodox as well, even between the mundane and the miraculous. Now, Jesus's relationship to the book is something that comes up in many of the pictures. It could almost be a study in itself, but in this case, he's kind of turning away. And yet he still has his hand in it, which to me is showing some respect. And as Jesus himself said, he did not come here to break the law, but he definitely came to add to it. And so I additionally would say that I almost see the book as embodying a more crystallized form of knowledge, whereas what Tobias seems to be offering is something that's more living. And this is definitely drawing attention, including from the baby Jesus. And I guess it's maybe the countercultural me that finds myself kind of rooting for Jesus, just in the sense of like, turn to the miracles, go to the miracles, baby Jesus. So this is where we're focused. In any case, there's a tension here in many regards. And yet, if we step back from it in terms of this interplay between the traditional and the new or the unorthodox, we might remember that anything that now is established in the orthodoxy, whether it's in religion or law or science, was once new. It was once just a twinkle in somebody's eye or in their thoughts. And so in that sense, I also see a certain circularity to it, a back and forth. And in this case, Jesus is looking down, but in many other of the images, he's looking up. So there's this interplay between the spiritual and the material. And this interplay, as I also said, can be really difficult. It's not always easy. In fact, it can be gut-wrenching. Variety is the spice of life. Diversity can be fun, but to be caught in this vortex of polarity can be very anxiety-producing and even dangerous. So in that regard, two things come to mind. One is this eagerness of Jesus, which seems to be telling us, be bold, don't be afraid to enter into the fray, fulfill your mission. You have the spiritual at your back. It's kind of an image of courage for me. And the second is the poise of Mary, the images, and yet it's not a matter of just really reflect for us in sometimes diversity such as this is a profound image of strength. So, and also the momentous task of mastering that grace which Mary exhibits is the idea that it can only come from with help from the spiritual world. In other words, from love. So with that, if we could go back to the detail, I think now, at least for me, having taken a deeper look at the big picture, we can really see the full beauty and the power of what's happening here. And I would say it's love that makes grace possible, a grace that can then bring comfort in the face of polarity. And with that, I'd like to end with a prayer. As a young man, I had the fortune of living by the seaside hermitage of Yogananda on the cliffs of the Pacific. And there was a prayer that was often said there that I'd like to share with you. That is, O Divine Mother, may your love burn forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter. We'll move right on into our 5 minutes of contemplation. All right. So today we got the opportunity to work with the after image for just a minute there. All right, and now I'd like to welcome and thank Brigida for joining us today for Eurythmy.
Yes, thank you. And you can see on the background, I am in school and standing in front of books. I'm sorry, but it was not differently possible. We will do, I think, speech today 3 times. The first time very slowly, and I will speak to that, and then the other times more fluently. And today I would like to direct or connect directly to the picture we just looked at, especially to the right arm of this Jesus boy, where we could see in his gaze and also in his arm an intention. So I'd like to make clearly a difference today between the limb we provide in the correct position and the intention we move through the limb through. So here we are, and we start providing our arms in the correct position. And the sentence says, I think, speak. And with that, we can move our intention through the arm through. The next position is different. The sentence is, I speak. And we move the intention. The third position is here, and we move the intention, I have spoken. The next position, I seek myself in the spirit. That is the intention. I seek. The next position, the sentence clearly says, I feel myself within myself, within the limits of my body. And here we can show I am on the way to the spirit, to myself. Now we do it more fluently, but we know now what we intend. I think, speak. I speak. I have spoken. I seek myself in the spirit. I feel myself within myself. I am on the way to the spirit, to myself. And the last time, I think, speak. I speak. I have spoken. I seek myself in the spirit. I feel myself within myself. I am on the way to the spirit, to myself. Thank you to everybody participating.
Thank you so much, Brigida. Beautiful. And thank you, Hunter. I really appreciated that expanded view of that larger image to work with as well. Thank you so much for bringing that. And with that, I have unmuted us all so that we can greet each other in grace for the day. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was
Bye.
beautiful.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Technology.
God bless everyone.
Gracias.
Thank
Lots of
you.
love.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
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 See you tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.